Hey guys, welcome to the Magfed Ranch Paintball channel, and today I'm going to be discussing how to set up your sniper loadout. But before I get into it guys, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, share, and comment. Alright guys, let's get into it because today's going to be a very lengthy, detailed video because the sniper position is not as apparent as it, makes itself out to be, okay guys? And so yeah, let me set up kind of what the basis of how I break down this loadout for you guys will be, okay? And the criteria for it is going to be in the context of that you're going to be implementing your sniper system as a team system, right? Just kind of like how, obviously, the military sets it up, which is you're going to have a sniper and, of course, a spotter, okay, guys? And so that's kind of the criteria in terms of how I'm going to discuss the loadouts today and also the markers that I recommend to be used for this position. And then, of course, the mindset and then also the kind of the context at which the role should be implemented within the gameplay, within your team, right? Because for most people, when they think about sniper and all the videos that you see in the Magfed, paintball videos that you see, it's just this individual going out there and taking these very accurate shots at players, right? But when you think about kind of the traditional definition of a sniper, it's not just that, right? It's obviously camouflage, it's fieldcraft, it's surveillance, it's reconnaissance, it's gathering information, it's target acquiring and target acquisition and IDing. It's obviously relaying this information back to your team or to obviously the commanding base. So like in a scenario event, a sniper can be obviously very, very effective, with doing all those different tasks, right? But of course, one of the team's primary tasks too, of course, is to eliminate targets, right? Eliminate the enemy, and specifically, typically eliminate a very high ranking enemy, right? Maybe that is, at an event you have the task of taking out one of the generals, right, or one of the high commanders, or maybe it is taking that shot that's supposed to simulate the destruction of a particular vehicle or a particular thing, right? So to get points for this event. Anyways, it is the job of the sniper team to take that accurate shot. Okay, guys. So besides all that other stuff, their job is to do that, to take that shot as well. Okay, so let's discuss markers as we always do first, guys. And the markers, and like I say plural, is because you're going to have a marker for the sniper assigned, right? The person assigned as the sniper position. And then, of course, you're going to have another marker assigned for the spotter position. Let's discuss the sniper position first, right? That marker has to be the most accurate, most consistent marker possible, okay? Obviously, a bolt action, marker like the Karmatech is obviously a very, good choice, right? It comes to mind when most people think of like a sniper marker. Obviously, the T15 line of markers, they make a bolt action marker as well, right? The 468, it has a bolt action system as well, okay, guys? But when it comes to those other two platforms, like the T15 and the 468, their consistency is not good enough for me to put it in the same category as the Karmatech, SAR 12. So if you're gonna go, if bolt action is your thing, and you have to go with that bolt action single shot, make sure every shot really counts. Karmatech, by all accounts, is obviously one of the most consistent markers. Guys, I would love to do a review for with that marker in the future to see how it stacks up against some of the semi-auto markers that we have here at our company. But from the testing that I've been able to see online, The accuracy at the 100 yards that they did their testing on is not much more accurate, if anything, if at all more accurate, than some of our DMM or sniper setups, the SASM setups that we have. Okay, guys, and like I said, I'll shoot the video with these longer barreled sniper setups for you guys here in the near future. So I'll showcase the accuracy for you. But as you guys can see from even the shorty marker videos that we shot, we're getting 5, 10-inch, at maximum, 14 to 15-inch groups at 80 yards, right? And so if you look at the SAR 12 results, they were getting right around 10-inch groups at 100 yards, right? And so that was in ideal conditions too, indoor facility, right? No wind. Anyways, like I said, I'm going to show you guys this, and I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm going to have to prove to you guys that the semi-auto sniper markers can be just as accurate as the bolt action, okay, guys? But when it comes to bolt action options out there, I think the SAR 12 hands down is the winner compared to those other markers. Okay, so anyways, if we're not going to go with the SAR 12 and we want to go with a semi-auto system, I'm definitely going to be either recommending the M17 line of markers just because of their consistency with the heat core. Now, of course, we've talked about the deficiency of the, the efficiency of the heat core system, right? In terms of not being able to produce as many shots. It obviously is, quote unquote, air hog, right? It does use a lot more air than some of the other systems. And then, of course, as I've documented, it also has a very small leak that's going to leak over time. That's going to affect that efficiency, right? But in terms of consistency, it is a more consistent marker than the T15 series of markers, okay? And so if you're going to set up a marker here, like our M110 SAS marker here, that would be a very good semi-auto platform for your sniper role, okay? Now, if you're planning to use the T15 style, we can definitely build a 20-inch barreled setup as well, but even this 18-inch, MR12 Mod 1 marker would be a decent choice as well. It's just not going to be as consistent from shot to shot as the M17. So when we're splitting hairs here and trying to get the best accuracy as possible, I'm still going to defer to the M110. Okay, guys? Now let's talk about the optics of the sniper marker, okay? This is kind of where the Supremacy scope from Carmatech can definitely be an option, right? Because although it might be a busy reticle and it might not be the fastest kind of just, acquisition, but it's going to give you that kind of very good range finding factor that it has, with the range finding circles for the mass, like, right, in terms of like, you can gauge the distance of your enemy by just obviously figuring out what the head size of your enemy is at the different distances, which I think is super cool. And then, of course, it has all the different holes out to 150 yards. So that's all built into the reticle in that scope. So that scope is definitely an option. However, if we're not wanting to spend the $400, $500, and of course, if we want something that's going to be a little bit less busy, a little bit more, I guess, faster in terms of just being able to usability, then I think the Hawk scope lineup is a very good option. The Killer Instinct scope is an okay option as well too, but I just think the glass on the Hawk is a little bit more clear. And also, it does have the crossbow brackets, right, to gauge the distance of that target, using the brackets, right, which is 16 inches. The average shoulder width of a human male is roughly 18 to 20 inches. And so with that 16-inch bracket, because it was a crossbow scope, it was designed for deer, animals, but that 16-inch bracket is close enough that you can kind of gauge, okay, hey, what is the distance of this target at that, different holes that I'm using. So I think the Hawk, XB1 SR scope would be a great option. The Killer Instinct, like I said, is an okay option as well too. It does have those brackets in there. It's just not going to be as clear as the Hawk scope. The other good thing about the Hawk scope as well is because of, remember guys, the FPS setting on the crossbow scopes is directly tied in with the magnification. And so because the Hawk scope starts out at a lower feet per second, when you dial it up to the 300 feet per second that our markers shoot at, right, fire at, you get a little bit of higher magnification. And it's usually right about 2.5%. I'm sorry, 2.5 times magnification, okay? Versus like the Killer Instinct, or even like the other crossbow scope that the True Glow one that I did a review for you guys. Those ones are only like a 2x magnification. So as much magnification as possible is definitely going to be helpful for those longer distance shots. And let's be honest, guys, that's kind of the shots that the sniper position is supposed to be able to perform and fulfill, okay? Now, let me just say one thing more about the Supremacy scope. Remember, that scope definitely is a good option because it is a first focal plane scope, and it has, I believe, a 7 times magnification. And so with that scope, you can actually zoom it out to 7x, and the reticle will still be true. It'll still be the correct, FSR drop compensating reticle with that scope. So like I said, that scope definitely has its benefits when it comes to this position, okay guys? All right. Let's talk about the marker for the spotter, okay? Now the spotter obviously is, like I said, it's part of a system, guys, right? The sniper is not just a position by himself, right? You need the spotter to be able to kind of gauge where the shot's going, to be able to kind of obviously give the sniper feedback as far as like, hey, was that shot hit? Was it close? Was it left? Was it right? The windage. The sniper team, the pair is supposed to operate as a team, and the spotter is supposed to be able to kind of assist the sniper in taking that accurate shot. Obviously, keeping track of windage, keeping track of obviously other factors like FSR drop, all the different things, right, to help the sniper take that accurate shot. Okay, guys. Now, the marker that the spotter is going to carry, though, is going to be more of a GPM or DMM setup. And the reason for that, guys, is because if the sniper team has to engage enemies in a normal combat situation, right, where now they have to engage the enemy in more of like, just a firefight, or maybe possibly their position has been compromised, or maybe now they have to advance or move positions and they have to engage target enemy in that matter, they're going to want more rounds, right? They're going to be able to generate a volume of fire, right? And so more of a GPM setup like this 417 assaulter marker that we have, or this, M4A1 SOP mod block 2 marker clone that we have here, will probably be the better choice for that position. Once again, we can carry the full magazines instead of the shorty magazines, and I'll go that in a little bit more when we get into the chest rigs, okay guys? But you're going to be able to generate a more volume of firepower. The markers are more compact, they're more wieldy, they're more handy, so obviously in a firefight, they're going to be a little bit more, obviously, user-friendly. And then the scopes. The scopes that I typically recommend with either the GPMs are going to be like just a fixed magnification scope. Because unlike the DMM or even the SASMs, right, the sniper or the designated marksman markers, the GPMs are meant as kind of an overall combat marker. It is meant to be an assaulter marker, right? It can be used for the purpose of assaulting, but it's also can be used in a pinch as a DMM setup, right? But the key with the scopes on the GPMs is that they're a fixed magnification, And the reticles in those scopes are only out to 60 or 70 yards. So they don't have the reticle holes out to 80, 90, or 100 plus, okay? And so for that 70 yards and in, you have a very fast target acquisitioning setup, right? Where you can take those shots from 20 yards all the way to 70 yards out really fast. And then of course you have the volume of firepower with, you know, the magazine loadouts, the bigger magazines that you're going to carry as the GPM roll, right? So the GPM, I think, is a great marker for the spotter, okay? And this is the other thing too. Because the scope is a fixed magnification, so like the Hawk Fix XB1 scope I have here, it's a 3x magnification crossbow scope. And then the UTG 4x mini crossbow scope here is a 4 times magnification. So in essence, you can use the scopes on these GPM setups as your spotting scope. You don't have to use like a separate spotting scope to carry around as the spotter. And that can obviously help lighten your loadout. Now, the cool thing about obviously Magfed FSR paintball is that we're not shooting to 300 yards, right, or 400 yards. That would be hella cool, guys, but obviously right now our ranges are about 150 yards or in. Maybe at most, right, is a 200 yard shot, okay, guys? But we're talking typically 150 yards or in. And so with the 3x scope or a 4x scope, that's plenty of magnification to be able to assist the sniper in spotting that shot out to those distances. Okay, guys? Let's talk about magazines real quick, since, you know, we're going to go into the loadout conversation with the magazines. So with the sniper setups, of course, we're going to be talking about rocking the shorty magazines, right, guys? The 11 round T15 magazines, if you decide to go with the T15 setup. But from here on out, guys, I'm going to be talking the sniper marker more as it's going to be using the M17, right? Okay, guys, because we want the most consistent and accurate marker possible when it comes to the sniper position. And so obviously they're going to be using the 11 round Gryzen G mags. Now, guys, go check out my video where I break down how to modify these markers, so that way they make them more reliable. For you guys out there that's using the M17 markers and you guys are rocking these magazines with First Strike, until you modify them, you're going to have a lot of jams, a lot of flipping issues with this magazine. So if you guys are out there experiencing flips or jams with your M17 because you're using these mags, it's most likely these magazines. Watch that video, like I said, guys, in terms of how to modify them to help them feed just as reliable as the 18 round magazines. Okay, guys? There are some other tricks too with the older M17s. I'll go over that with you guys in another video, okay? But with the current generation of Vulcan M17s, they have been super reliable with the 18 round magazines, okay, guys? Or even the, you know, old school 15 round magazines, but just not these 11 round magazines. Okay, guys? So yeah, so with the sniper position marker, you're going to want to use the shorter mags because most likely you're going to have to use a bipod, and it's most of the shots are going to be in the prone position. Okay, guys? And so same thing with the GPM setups. I don't have bipods here on all the marker guys, but typically the markers are going to be set up fairly similar from one another. You know, so both markers are going to most likely have bipods, so that way both the sniper and the spotter can set up a position, one to be able to take the shot, and then of course one to be able to observe the shot. The only difference, of course, is, like I said, the loadout is going to be different in terms of the mag capacity and the type of mags that they carry. Okay, guys? Now, the other thing I wanted to point out, there are some benefits of using the M17 for both players' position markers, right? Meaning, if you're using an M17 as a sniper marker, and then if you use an M17 as the spotter marker, one of the benefits of that now is that you guys are carrying and sharing the same magazines. So if you need to, in a pinch, you guys can obviously trade magazines, right? If a sniper runs out of ammo and he needs, you know, magazines, the spotter can hand them a magazine, and vice versa, right? Same thing with the T15 setup, right? If one person is rocking the T15 as a sniper marker, and then the other person is rocking the T15 as a GPM marker, they can trade magazines. Now, of course, if they're running opposite markers, then that's kind of where you lose that benefit, guys. Okay, so I just want to touch upon that real quick. Let's talk about the loadouts for each individual one. With the sniper marker, obviously because we're generating less volume of fire, guys, we're talking about observing, surveillance, reconnaissance, and of course we're talking about that, accurate shot, right? Single accurate shot, eliminating that high value target. We don't have to carry that much mags. However, I still think a good rule of thumb is going to be 3 to 4 magazines for this role, guys. And so I have several different options for you guys here. I have this really cool setup. It's literally just a blank Molly chest rig that I've attached 2 of the M17 magazines to it that you can get. These are literally specifically made for the M17 magazines, and they just attach to the Molly webbing. And so you can carry 2 magazines here. For example, you can carry, one full length, 15 or 18 round magazine. And then of course, you can carry an 11 round magazine. And then of course, you're gonna have another magazine in your marker, right? For a total of 3. It still has some extra space here to carry a backup, TIPX or FSC. Now, let's touch upon the backup markers real quick, guys. I think for the sniper position, I think it's actually very beneficial for that position to have a backup marker, like a backup pistol, because there is a chance that, they'll get into a very close engagement. Maybe somehow they got spotted, maybe somehow they got snuck up on, and they might have to take some, obviously close-up emergency shots with a marker. And it's very difficult to be carrying this full-size, sniper marker, whether it's a semi-auto or the Karmatex, and then somehow carry a smaller carbine marker, to engage the enemy at those closer distance. So a backup pistol, just to be able to draw it out and obviously engage targets at around that 10 or 15 yards or less distance, I think is very beneficial to the sniper position. Another good setup that I remember one of my teammates ran back in the day was running a TIPX carbine pistol, right? So getting like a body kit for the TIPX pistol, and then just rocking that with like a 12 round mag or a Zeta mag, on some type of chest sling setup, and then using that as a backup if you have to engage into kind of a CQB situation. But obviously, like I said, that's just carrying more stuff. A backup pistol, I think, is a good choice. Obviously, you have an extra mag pouch here, guys, in the holster. And of course, if you wanted to, they sell just extra single magazine pouches that you can attach, to the magazine. You notice that the magazines have slots where you can attach it to here as well. Okay, guys? Let's go to another setup. I have another little small, just empty chest rig here. This one is from One Tigress, I believe. I really like this company. They're made mostly for airsoft guys, but as you can tell, they work really well with real steel stuff or our magazine, paintball Magfed markers. And they're very affordable, usually around the $60 to $70 area. But you'll notice that this one has the magazines built into this. It's really cool. It's literally a Velcro, if you guys can see here, it's literally a Velcro leaf. And you literally just stick that Velcro leaf onto the blank Velcro Velcro chest rig, okay? And so you can literally change the different setups if you like. This one already has 2 pistol magazine pouches built in, right, for your pistols. And then it has 3 built-in primary magazine holders. And so like I said, I think this is a great setup for the sniper position too. You got 3 magazines here and then 1 in your markers, for a total of 4. And then the last one I have here, guys, is the one I've showed you guys previously. It's the 10-speed, AR-10 chest rig from Blue Force Gear. And I really like this one too, guys. It's already got the 3 magazine pouches built in, but it's got MOLLE on either side. So if you wanted to, you can either attach the, the pistol mag, right, to this one side. And of course, you can attach, other accessories, whether they're pistol pouches, grenade pouches, whatever you like, to the other side. Now, the reason why I want to keep the sniper chest rig very minimal, guys, is because, most likely I haven't talked about, right, all the other loadout that a sniper might have. Most likely, you guys, the sniper and the spotter is going to be wearing some type of ghillie suit, right? They're going to be carrying, having all that stuff around them. You're going to have to move very slow when you're like obviously kind of just in the prone position and just kind of crawling to your next shooting position. And of course, if you do have to get up to run and move, you're already weighed down by a lot of gear already. You're already weighed down by your your ghillie suit. You're weighed down by this bigger marker, right? With the optics. And so last thing you want to do is having to carry all this extra, magazines and chest rig, especially when your job isn't to fire a lot of rounds, right? Your job isn't to put a lot of rounds downrange, high volume. So carrying all that excessive magazines is not necessary. Okay, guys. So I think 3 to 4 magazines in a very minimal chest rig, paired with obviously the rest of your gear and your loadout, is plenty for the sniper position. Okay, guys. Now let's go to the spotter real quick. Now the spotter is going to be obviously not as minimal as the sniper, because this position is responsible for obviously in essence covering the sniper's ass if they get into a firefight, right? So if we get into a situation now where we have multiple threats at potentially, let's say, closer distances, and you have to engage the enemy in a firefight, then the spotter is going to have the platform that should be able to, lay that higher volume of firepower to allow the sniper team to in essence escape, guys, right? It's not their job to, take on like a whole fire team if they get unfortunately located. Now, can they do it? Of course. A highly qualified sniper team that knows how to put accurate shots on target can be deadly, right? Can be like obviously very game changing, right? But it's not the point. Is trying to take 2 on 10, for example, is not good odds, regardless of of how accurate your marker system is and how good your system, how good you guys are, right? The key is being able to at least lay down enough suppressive fire so that way you guys can escape, get to another position, right? Have better odds of obviously surviving, okay? And so I have a chest rig here. I've showed you guys this one on previous videos. This one is the 4 magazine holder chest rig from One Tigress. I think this would be a good minimal setup for the spotter. I think this is actually probably an ideal setup as well too, because the spotter will be in a ghillie suit as well too, so you don't definitely want to be overloaded with a bunch of gear as a spotter, because your equipment is not going to be that much lighter than the sniper. You're going to be already carrying either a bigger marker, whether that might be a designated marksman marker or even a GPM marker. It's not going to be like one of the shorty, right, SBM markers, right? So you don't want to overload yourself with all this gear that you're already having to carry around, okay? Not to mention you might be carrying like obviously the journals in terms of all the different wind holes and compensation things. You might be carrying obviously surveillance equipment, like navigating equipment. You might be carrying obviously the microphones and the communication devices to be able to relay whatever information you gather out in the field back to headquarters, right? So like I said, your loadout comprises of all these other tasks that you're going to have to do versus just the shooting aspect, okay, guys? And so I think a 4 magazine chest rig with 1 extra in your marker, that makes for 5, I think would be a good standard for the spotter. However, if you do need to carry more magazines, you can carry a chest rig like what an assaulter setup would carry. However, I still don't think this is the ideal setup for the spotter because it's just a lot, right? Imagine having to crawl in the prone position in a ghillie suit with all this extra stuff, you know, sticking away from your chest, right? All this stuff is going to get caught on the ground, on the dirt, and on, you know, branches or whatever. And then, of course, it's just extra weight. Now, there's pros and cons. Of course, you know, having the extra 6 magazines versus only 4 magazines when it comes, you know, into time when you might need it, definitely can be a disadvantage. But like I said, you know, in an ideal, if you're playing the position right, if you're playing the role right of the sniper and the spotter, you're not trying to get yourself into those type of, obviously, firefight situations. Now, of course, remember, we do have to carry some shorty magazines with the setup too. I recommend carrying at least 1, if more, possibly 2, 1 in the marker maybe, while you're obviously having to assist the sniper with, you know, obviously spotting the shot, all right, guys? So that way you can be in the prone position as well with the sniper, okay? Now, should the GPM, the spotter, carry a backup marker? I think that's kind of a yes or a no. I mean, I don't think it's required. Once again, you know, they're kind of fulfilling kind of this designated marksman position with the sniper, with obviously this added task of having to spot for the sniper and calling the shots and obviously assisting them. But the key is that you want to have this kind of this designated marksman kind of mindset, because, you know, if let's say there's 2 targets available and the sniper has to take the high value one out, you as a spotter might have to take that second target out that's next to him. Let's say you have 2 opponents standing next to one another, right? You both might have to take the shot at the same time to take both threats out, right? Take both enemy out. And so, once again, you guys are concerned with more of accuracy of shot versus volume of firepower, right? So having the extra mags is not kind of the mindset that you're wanting to be in, okay? So then, like, let's transition to mindset then, guys, okay? Because I think this is kind of where, you know, we haven't really done this a lot in the Magfed paintball community, right? Like I said, you know, when you watch a lot of the videos out there, you know, where it says, oh, sniper, you know, kill shot at whatever, right? Or sniper head hunting, right? It's usually more of, like I told you guys in my previous video, it's usually more of like a designated marksman scenario, right? Where, you know, they're obviously in a concealed position, but they're just eliminating all these targets at fairly far distances because of the first strike capability, and they're obviously engaging targets at a distance that those targets aren't aware they can be hit, right? But it's not like a sniping position where they've been there and they've been kind of, you know, crawling and hiding and camouflaging and concealing and then taking that high value target out. So I'm strictly talking about playing with that mindset, okay, guys? Like, you know, obviously dressing in the ghillie suit, playing that part, you know, being sent on a mission where you're having to do the scouting and relaying that information back and saying, you know, your mission objective is not only to do that, but then having to take out that high-ranking general or that high-ranking player on the other team, right? Or maybe it's like, okay, hey, you know, you have to take out this vehicle, you know, it's like simulating, right? It's LARPing, guys. And so it's like, hey, you got to take out this vehicle, you know, and you're going to use your sniper marker with a, you know, in an explosive round to take out that vehicle, right? And so it's like missions like that. That's what I'm talking about when I'm thinking about the sniper position and the spotter position that I'm discussing these loadout guys on, okay? And so you're going to want the most accurate system possible. You're going to want the 2 players, you know, in essence, thinking of themselves as one system to take that one shot, right? And then, of course, having the capability of being able to call that shot. It was, hey, you know, you are far left. We took that 150 shot, well, 150-yard shot. The enemy didn't even notice you shooting at them, right? The bullet, you know, the FSR round just pretty much just whizzed by, right by, you know, the player's head, but they didn't even notice that you fired at them. Or maybe it was like, you know, a few feet short. So the spotter would call that out and say, hey, adjust it, right? You know, aim a little bit higher, you know, aim two holds higher, or aim 2 clicks higher, right? And then of course the second shot would take out the enemy without them knowing, you know, that they were actually, you know, that you guys were even there, okay? And so that's kind of what I'm thinking in terms of the mindset when, you know, we're playing this role. And then of course, obviously, the other thing would be to obviously maybe do an overwatch position, right? Where, let's say you're on top of a hill, or you're in a building, and you're having to watch watch for your team, right? So like maybe the team is on the ground level, having to hold the other team off from assaulting, and you have a high ground position. And so now you and your spotter, you know, take a position of obviously where you can, you know, take shots at the enemy, and of course you guys can call out the shots with one another, right? So that way the spotter can take shots, you know, the sniper can take shots and eliminate kind of enemies as a tandem, as a team, right? Okay. Or the other thing too is the last thing I think, which would be a really cool scenario or a really cool objective, would be like if the sniper team was part of the actual fire team itself. And so let's say the sniper team, the spotter and the sniper, is set up as the overwatch for an assaulting team. You know, and the assaulting team might be, let's say, a team of 4 players, you know, 3 assaulters and 1 DM, right? Who's obviously going to engage the enemy, rush towards the enemy, lay that volume of suppressive firepower to continue to engage the enemy and take them out. But the spotter and the sniper now takes a position of overwatch, and they can kind of communicate with that assault team to tell them, hey, you know, hey, there's 2 guys on your right, or 2 guys on your left, or hey, you know, they have a sniper over there, you know, make sure you watch out for them. So in essence, you're able to kind of observe what needs to be going on, relay that back to your teammates, and then of course also engage the enemy at these farther distances, because you're back, you know, you can take that 150 yard shot from way far back, eliminate the threats for your assaulting team as, you know, as they're engaging the enemy. So that's kind of where I see like the 3 kind of different mission objectives where a sniper team would be implemented, right, in its true form, right, guys? Not as just kind of like going out in the field and just like, you know, going headhunting, okay? The last thing I would say is training, guys, right? Because now this isn't like training like what, you know, your fire team would train. You know, now you're going to have to train as like this kind of this 2-man team, right? Being able to move with one another, being able to not be spotted while moving with one another, right? Being able to call out, help each color call out the holds without obviously giving away your position, right? And like I said, you know, really being able to kind of work together as a tandem, as one, to take that shot. And I think that'll be a really cool training process too, because, you know, when you train as like an assaulter team with a designated marksman, you're obviously doing all these bounding movements, right? You're also doing all these peeling movements. You're doing kind of like your basic, you know, run and gun, you know, move and shoot type of tactics. But I think with the sniper positions, I think it'll be really cool to train, you know, obviously doing all that kind of, like I said, that field craft, that slow approach, that, you know, obviously being able to camouflage in with the environment. So that's the other thing too, guys, is I think, you know, you got to think about if you're playing the different roles, what type of training comes with each position and each role. And then of course the loadout and the markers that will be you know, assisting best within those roles. Okay, guys? So guys, hey, if you like that video, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button. Talk to you guys next time. Peace.